In the late 2010s, while the main roster was drowning in confusion and creative apathy, something special was happening quietly in Orlando. NXT under Triple H wasn't just a wrestling show, it was a statement. It was proof that WWE could still understand wrestling if it wanted to. Black and Gold NXT became the refuge for fans who had been burned for years by incoherent booking, childish storytelling, and a product that felt embarrassed of its own audience. Takeovers weren't just good shows, they were events. They felt important. They felt earned. Every takeover delivered match quality that rivaled or outright embarrassed main roster pay-per-views. 5-star matches didn't feel rare, they felt expected. Fans happily paid for tickets and the network because they knew exactly what they were getting: logical storytelling, long-term character arcs, and wrestling that respected the intelligence of the audience. It wasn't sports entertainment, it was professional wrestling, and it reminded people why they fell in love with this industry in the first place. Meanwhile, ends didn't make sense. Characters changed week to week with no explanation. Wrestlers got over organically only to be punished for it. The shows were written for a demographic that largely didn't even watch anymore, while the actual fanbase was treated like an inconvenience. Then, shockingly, it happened. Vince McMahon stepped down, and Triple H, the architect of NXT Black and Gold, was handed the keys to the kingdom. For the first time in years, fans felt hope. Not the slow-burning fake hope. But this 2022 felt like a rebirth. Storylines breathed again. Wrestlers felt human. Matches had purpose. Returns mattered. Characters had direction. It wasn't perfect, but it was coherent, and coherence felt revolutionary after years of chaos. 2023 built on that momentum. Pay-per-views delivered. Weekly TV felt watchable. WWE wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. Fans started reacting in a way they hadn't in years.
It's gonna... Oh! 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 So The Rock has turned heel, y'all.
Then came 2024, the absolute peak cinema moment of wrestling. Those reactions pretty much said it all. Wrestling didn't just improve, it climaxed. The Bloodline saga, one of the greatest long-term stories WWE ever told, reached its emotional conclusion. Cody Rhodes finished his story, and for once, WWE actually stuck the landing. WrestleMania felt monumental. The crowd reactions were electric. It felt like WWE had finally entered a golden age, one where storytelling, wrestling, and fan investment aligned perfectly. For a brief moment, it felt like they had learned from its past.
On an emotional level as a fan of what I saw last night, I was like, oh my God. Like, it was one thing when he attacks Cody from behind. It's one thing where he hits Cody in the head with the garbage can, which, by the way, looked like it freaking hurt when I saw that last night. And then the beatdown. And there's Cody in his clothes. You said sometimes Cody looking a little too polished, a little too pretty. You said on the show yesterday. You said this on the show yesterday. Less than 24 hours as we're talking right now. You said, I want to see Cody get uglied up a little bit. I want to see Cody get uglied up just a little bit. Well, my friend, that happened in a big way last night.
And then, everything fell apart. What followed wasn't a slow decline. It was a tonal shift so abrupt it felt like betrayal. Triple H didn't just change, he hardened. The booker who once listened to fans became distant, stubborn, and dismissive. The man who built NXT by embracing momentum now actively fought against it. Wrestlers' fans were begging for were cooled off, stalled, or outright buried. Drew McIntyre's momentum evaporated. LA Knight's red-hot reactions were ignored until they went cold. R-Truth was toyed with, fired, rehired, repackaged, and then reduced back to comedy like nothing mattered. Cross, once protected and backed by fans who wanted to believe, was dismantled piece by piece until there was nothing left, and then he was gone.
LA Knight is not here to accept this award because Parliament buried him, then sent him up to the upper room. But there's the bright side. We could call UPS and FedEx and see if they could ship his award up to heaven. We won't be seeing him no time soon. The year LA Knight had, it's like being in a bad dream to the point they should just change his name to LA Knight to LA Nightmare.
Do you remember when R-Truth got fired and then they brought him back? And then he was a serious character with tons of momentum for like 2 weeks. And then they just took him off TV for a while and then he came back as a nut job again. But like even more insane than last time. Why?
Got screwed again! Yes, screw Drew. That seems to be the modus operandi for WWE recently, as Cody Rhodes, once again with dusty circumstances, if you will, became a real nightmare for the Scottish psychopath, once again defeating him and retaining the undisputed WWE Championship.
By 2025, the cracks were impossible to ignore. Storylines didn't just feel weak, they felt unfinished. Champions barely appeared on weekly television, making titles feel like props instead of prizes. Matches dragged. Promos circled the same talking points week after week. WWE leaned into a rigid top 5 match card formula that stripped shows of spontaneity and killed crowd energy. Instead of organic moments, fans got predictable structures and safe outcomes. Wrestling became sterile again.
Let's talk about how awesome it is that Logan Paul just won. And let's talk about, Sam, let's talk about what Logan Paul represents. The shortcut. Feels so good to be here. Feels so good to be in the business. Thinking about all of the funerals that I wasn't able to attend for the last 11 years in this business, all of the holidays I missed. You know, I could have just started a YouTube channel, could have just jumped in there with AJ Styles. Feels really good, right? It's awesome. It's really good.
Do you guys know we have 25 years combined experience, and what are we doing on Mania?
Well, they know because they're normal human beings, and they actually love professional wrestling, but apparently that doesn't mean shit anymore. That doesn't mean shit. All I asked Alan to do was, for once, to not think about just himself. Think about everybody in the back, and think about the professional wrestling fans. That's all I wanted him to do. Sometimes, to do the right thing, you have to do the wrong thing. So he's a narcissist. That's a little too great. We're looking just for good ideas. That's for those guys over there. That's what being a good soldier is, okay? Being a good soldier is coming to your hometown where you cut your teeth, where you got started, and not being on the card. It's all about viral moments now. That's what it's all about. Viral moments. Well, Guy, everybody's been telling me that I gotta become undeniable. And as soon as it happens, they ignore it and they shut it down. I never asked to wrestle Randy. I never asked. That happened organically, and you ignored it for a viral moment. And good on Joe. Nothing against him. But you ignored it. And the crowd told you exactly how they felt about me on SmackDown when I was eliminated. And you ignored it. Become undeniable. My ass. My ass. You want a viral moment? On behalf of all of the true fans of professional wrestling, Guy with the suit and tie in the truck, go fuck yourself. That's from Killer Cross. No.
Cross was the final insult. Fans stood behind him longer than WWE ever did. They begged for patience. They defended the vision. And WWE responded by burying him quietly and letting him go, as if the audience had imagined his potential. Roman Reigns, once the centerpiece of the company, became a part-timer so extreme he might as well have been a hologram. 5 appearances a year. Same entrance. Same cheap pop. No progression. Just nostalgia farming. John Cena's retirement tour should have been sacred. Instead, it was awkward, unfocused, and emotionally hollow. Matches lacked stakes. Moments felt rushed. A career that deserved careful reflection was treated like filler. And then there was WrestleMania, the moment that broke many fans. Gunther, the most dominant modern champion WWE had built in years, tapped out to Jay. Not lost. Not outsmarted. Tapped. In one moment, an aura painstakingly constructed over years vanished, sacrificed for shock value. Ron Killing's firing and rehiring became a parody of creative indecision. WWE tried to sell fans on a serious R-Truth, only to abandon it within 2 weeks and revert back to comedy sketches. Brock Lesnar returned to the company for absolutely no narrative reason, accomplished nothing, and left again, a reminder of WWE's addiction to empty nostalgia. Paul Heyman, once the most powerful voice in wrestling, was reduced to a background accessory bouncing between factions with no clear purpose, his mystique diluted beyond recognition.
Another one of these suits that run this operation, that are running this flea market. Was it Shapiro or I can't remember which one?
Mark Shapiro.
Came out, Mark Shapiro.
COO of TKO.
Well, there you go. He came out and said, well, Vince McMahon wasn't maximizing the ticket prices and like we are, because Vince McMahon was still pricing for families. So basically just say, no, we're going to make it so expensive you can't even bring the rest of your fucking family if you want to. This is just for a bunch of self-absorbed dicks to go see.
And through all of this, fans grew tired. Not just creatively tired, financially exhausted. Ticket prices skyrocketed. Premium live events became luxuries. Fans were asked to pay more than ever for a product that gave them less than ever. Raw dragged. SmackDown lost its edge. Watching WWE began to feel like an obligation rather than entertainment. The tragedy isn't that Triple H failed. It's that he proved he knew better. NXT showed what WWE could be. 2022 through 2024 proved it wasn't a fluke. And yet, by 2025, WWE once again felt disconnected from its audience, stubborn in its decisions, and convinced it knew best while fans tuned out in frustration. This wasn't the fall of Vince McMahon's WWE. This was the fall of the promise that things had finally changed. And that hurts more than bad booking ever could.